ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। ॐ Dear friends, welcome to the study of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Probably today we will be completing the text, and maybe in another class we will have just a brief summary of or a recap of what we have studied. So today we'll just see in the last class we just started Sutra number 33, Sutra number 33 of Kaivalyapada, that is Kshana Pratiyogi Parinamaparanta Nirgrahya Kramaha. So he was talking about what was that krama. Krama in simple terms, krama literally means a sequence. But here in this particular context, that krama for chanas, chana means a moment has passed by, another moment has passed by. So in that when during the passage of moments, that sequence itself is there. In that sequence, there is a parinama, there is a change in the object, in all the objects, in prakriti, let us say, prakriti in general. So that is being defined. What exactly is a krama? Because this word krama was used in an earlier sutra. So what is this other poyam kramo nama iti? So that is how it started. Then it started saying that it is something which is defined by the passage of moments. Krana pratiyogi. It is defined by the passage of moments. Parinama aparanta nirgrahya, that which is perceived or known only after the parinama has taken place. So that is what he was saying. I will now show the text. We'll just go through it, what we studied. We'll again quickly go through that and then go to... Okay, we'll just quickly go through this and then go further. Kshana Pratiyogi Parinama Paranta Nigrahya Kramaha. What is this Kshana Pratiyogi? Kshanasya Pratiyogi. No, Kshanaha Pratiyogi Yasya. So that is how it has been explained. Kshanaha Pratiyogi Yasya. That for which a moment is the counterpart. Pratiyogi. I told you that Pratiyogi is a technical term used in Nyaya, almost all Shastras, particularly. These are all terms from Nyaya Siddhanta. Kshana Pratiyogi, Parinama Aparanta. Aparanta means at the end. Aparanta Nirgrahya. Grahya Nirgrahya. Grahya means that which can be known. Nirgrahya. Nir is only an upasarga. Nirgrahya. Kramaha. That is what is that succession or change. It is the counterpart of a moment and it is known at the end of the transformation of gunas. So what is this Pratiyogi? Pratiyogi is Ghata Bhavasya Pratiyogi Ghataha. So that is how Ghata Bhavasya, the Ghata is the Pratiyogi for its absence. So that is how we see Kshanaha Bhavasya Pratiyogi. A moment is the counterpart of the absence of a moment. That means a moment negates the absence of a moment. In this sutra, the Kshana Pratiyogi is explained in Bahurihi. How Kshanaha Pratiyogi Yasya. That means that for which Kshana, a moment is the Pratiyogi or counterpart. Finally, in final terms, what does it mean? The absence of a moment. Kshana Pratiyogi means that which is known by the passage of moments. That which is known by the passage of moments. Absence of a moment, literally speaking, or a moment which has passed by. So it indicates the passage of moments. So Kshana Pratiyogi, in simple words, let us understand it as the passage of time in general. Then you see, Kshananantariyatma Parinamasya Aparantena Avasanena Grahyate Kramaha. Krama is something which is known. Parinamasya Aparantena. Parinama is transformation. Aparantena means at the end of it. Aparantena means Avasanena Grahyate Kramaha. Another point is Kshananantariyatma. Kshananantaha. Kshananantaraha. Kshananantaram. Eva tasya atma bhavati. What is that? Succession is something which is of the nature of coming into existence after the passage of moment. Change takes place only after the passage of a moment. In simple words, Kshananantariyatma means change is something which takes place after the passage of time. That's all. It implies the transformation takes place every moment. It is known at the end of the transformation because every moment, suppose I am wearing a new shirt, every moment I don't see, that it is getting old. I see it after a few washes, after a few, at least half a dozen washes or so. Then I will see it is likely it is fading or something like that. If I wear it for a couple of years, then again probably it will fade much further. So I can see the change after the passage of time. So it is known at the end of the transformation. So that is what he is saying. Nahi ananubhuta kramakshana puranata vastrasya ante bhavati. See, puranata is what oldness, purana, not purana, puranam, puranata. Puranam, we know what is Puranam, Agni Puranam, Vishnu Puranam, etc. Purapi Navamiti Puranam, that is how it is defined. Though it is very, very old, it is relevant. So Puranata Vastrasya Na Bhavati. How Puranata, the oldness of a thing, Na Bhavati does not exist unless Ananubhuta Kramakshana, unless there is experience of the passage of moments. The oldness of something is not known, or the oldness of a thing does not exist unless there is a passage of time. It is everyday experience only. So up to this point, I think we read. One more line also we read. That is Nityeshu cha kramo drushtaha. Dvayicayam nityata kutastha nityata parina. Yeah, these also we read. Nityeshu cha kramaha drushtaha. Succession is seen in eternal things also. So that is the postulation of yoga philosophy, isn't it? You see, Prakriti is something that is the original source, Mola Prakriti. And that from that Prakriti, all these things have evolved. And certain things which have evolved, from those evolutes, something more has evolved, something more has evolved. And at some point of time, they have all stopped there. So succession, and he says that success, and now we say that Prakriti is also eternal. Prakriti is eternal. So Prakriti, that is what he is intending here. Prakriti and Purusha both are eternal. Succession is also seen in eternal things, that is Prakriti, or otherwise Gunas. Eternality is of two types. Dvayisha iyam nityata. Iyam nityata dvayi. Two types of nityata. That is eternality or permanence, let us say, maybe a simpler word. Kutastha nityata, parinami nityata. Kutastha nityata, kuta iva sthita, parinami nityata. That which is changing, but at the same time there is some permanence. Like pravaha nityatvam, like a pravaha, like a stream which is continuously flowing, perennially flowing. So that is the parinami nityata or pravaha nityata. Kutastha nityata, kuta I explained, that is the anvil, that is the ironsmith's anvil on which he beats out things and then brings various things into shape. So then Kutastha Nityata Purushasya. Purusha is of the nature of Kutastha Nitya, and Parinami Nityata is Gunana. Gunas, they do change, and then again, though the gunas keep on changing, the very fact, their very nature of changing, that is permanent. The very nature, the gunas are changing in nature. So that nature does not change. So from that point of view, there is a nityata there. So that is eternality. So this unchanging eternality and transforming eternality. Unchanging eternality is that of Purusha, and transforming eternality is that of the gunas. Then Kutavat tishtati iti kutastha. This word also explained. Yasmin parinamyamane tattvam na vihanyate tat nityam. What is nityam? Nityam is something which is eternal. What is eternal? Yasmin parinamyamane, when something is undergoing change, parinamyamana, shanach pratyaya also is told, there is a present continuous. Yasmin parinamyamane, when it is undergoing change, tattvam na vihanyate, its essence is not affected, its essence is not destroyed. So that is what is nityam. Then ubhayasya cha tattva anabhigatat nityatvam. Ubhayasya means of both Purusha and Prakriti. Of both Purusha and Prakriti. Tattva anabhigatat, because their tattva, their essence has not undergone any change. Their essence is not destroyed. Esha tayoho nityatvam. Nityatvam means eternality of those two. Then tatra gunadharmeshu buddhyadishu parinamaparanta nirgrahyah kramaha labdha paryavasanaha. Yeah, this labdha paryavasana also we read. Tatra gunadharmeshu buddhyadishu. Gunadharmeshu means gunanam vikareshu. Gunanam vikarani. What are the gunanam vikaraha? Not vikarani. Vikaraha means the effects of the gunas. The gunas, they are gunas, in other words, Prakriti, they are getting transformed. So those vikaras, those evolutes, they are the guna dharmas, guna dharmeshu. What are the buddhyadishu, like buddhi, etc. parinama aparanta nirgrahya kramaha. So this krama which is noticed at the end of this parinama, krama which is known at the end of this parinama, is something which is labdha paryavasanaha. Labdha paryavasana means something which comes to an end. That parinama is something which comes to an end. Nityeshu dharmishu guneshu alabdha paryavasanaha. So in things like the later evolutes like buddhi, etc., buddhi and mind, and then again the five sense organs, etc. So this is something labdha paryavasana. So that change has come to an end. Whereas nityeshu dharmishu, dharmi and dharma, here it is used in the context of, in the sense of the cause and effect. Now guna, they are the original cause. We are going to the original cause and not to the other causes. For example, there are certain things like mahat, ahankara, etc., which are also prakriti and also vikruti. They have evolved from certain things, from prakriti. So that is why they are vikrutis in relation to pradhana or prakriti. But they are also prakritis in relation to later evolutes like buddhi, mind, senses, etc. Prakriti vikrutayaha. We saw it in the very beginning. We saw that line, big line, in which from prakriti, that family line, let us say, family tree, in which prakriti is there. From prakriti, certain things evolve, ahankara, etc., mahatu, ahankara, etc. From that again, pancha tanmatrani. Again, some more things come out. So there are certain prakriti vikrutaya in between, which are vikrutis with respect to the higher one, and which are prakritis with respect to the other later ones. So that is what we saw. So nityeshu dharmishu guneshu. Now we are talking about dharmi, that is the original dharmi. What is that original dharmi? Is pradhanam or prakriti, or in other words, guneshu, guna in gunas. Alabdha paryavasanaha. So that the very nature, the nature of it does not undergo change. The nature of the gunas does not undergo change. So that is the point. Then in the eternal dharmis, the gunas, there is no end to their eternal nature. Then the eternality of gunas is parinama nityata, that is transforming eternality. Existence of parts may be temporary. This is a rather loose example. Existence of parts, etc., may be temporary, but the nature of gunas to undergo change is permanent. Then Kutastha Nityeshu, Swarupamatra Pratishteshu. Now we are talking about a Mukta Purusha. Mukta Purusha means an enlightened person. Mukta Purusha. Mukta means somebody who is freed. Mukta, Munchidhatu, Mukta, Ta Pratyaya. That is somebody who has been freed. Freed from what? From the bondage of Prakriti, from the bondage of Buddhi, senses, mind, etc., from the bondage of Prakriti, let us say. So Kutastha Swarupamatra Pratishteshu Mukta Purusheshu. So in those Mukta Purushas who are of the nature of Kutastha Nitya means that Purusha is of the nature of the enlightened person. He is staying or abiding in the awareness of his being that Purusha. I am that Purusha. In that awareness, he is abiding in that state. So he is in that Kutastha Nitya state. So Swarupamatra Pratishtha. And also he is established in his own rupa, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. We saw that sutra number 3. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam, sutra number 3 of the first pada. So swarupa matra pratishtha. So that Purusha, after enlightenment, he is there in the swarupa pratishtha. Then swarupa pratishtha kramena iva anubhuyate iti, kramena anubhuyate. So that means krama, again this passage of time. In that passage of time, it is anubhuyate. It is being experienced. Today I am enlightened, tomorrow also I am enlightened, day after tomorrow I am enlightened, yesterday I was enlightened. So that thing that goes on continuously. Kramena eva anubhuyate iti tatrapi alabdha paryavasanaha. There also there is no end. There is no end to that parinama. There is no end to that alabdha paryavasanaha. There is no end. It is a continuous thing. Like the eternality of the gunas. The gunas, they keep on changing eternally. And this Purusha is something which does not change at all. So in that state, it has no vikara. Purusha has no vikara in him, or in it, let us say. Kramena iva anubhuyate tatrapi alabdha paryavasanaha. Shabda prusthena astikriyam upadaya kalpita iti. So this was a rather Shabda Prusthena. Shabda Prusthena means on the basis of this particular usage. based on this particular usage, let us say, based on this, on the back of this particular usage. Prashta actually means back. Shabda Prashthanam is on the back of this particular usage or based on this particular usage. What is this usage? Asti Kriyam Upadaya. Asti. What is this Asti? Where is this used? Swarupa Astita. Swarupa Astita. Swarupe Asti. Swarupe Asti iti Astita. So he is established in his Swarupa. So that the act of being established, the act of staying, continuously staying, because of that act of continuously staying, so taking that or based on that particular expression, so this sort of alabdha paryavasana, etc., it is something which is kalpita. It is something you are just for telling. Kalpita means it is not really there. It looks as though it is there. It is not really there. So that Purusha, based on that Shabda Prushtena, Swarupe Tishtati, Swarupasti, Swarupastita. So based on that, so it is just simply, it is based on that expression only, we are saying, Swarupas, let me see the translation. In objects of unchanging eternality, that is Kutastha Nityeshu, Swarupa Matra Pratishteshu means the liberated persons established in their real self, Mukta Purusheshu, such abidance in one's own self, that is Swarupastita, that is abidance in one's own self, Kramena iva anubhuyate, is known by succession of gunas, by the cessation of operation of gunas. So how do we know that a person is mukta? We know that a person is mukta only when the effect of gunas is not there on him. That whether it's sattva, rajas, tamo guna, he has gone beyond. He is a gunatita. Only by that we know that. And he is continuously staying in that. So here too, you see, tatrapi, alabdha paryavasana, tatrapi, even here, there is no end to this particular nature. Alabdha paryavasana means there is no change or there is no end to this particular nature. Then, Shabda Prusthena, Asti Kriyam Upadaya Kalpitaha iti. So, by Shabda Prusthena, it is merely a verbal conjecture based on the action of abiding in oneself. Action of abiding in oneself. Shabda Prusthena. So, that is a rather, that sentence probably it is slightly, I have to translate it in a better way. Shabda Prusthena Asti Kriyam Upadaya Kalpitaha. So, this Alabdha Paryavasana, really speaking, it is not there. But based on that word, Swarupastita, we are only using that expression. So that is what he wants to say. Then, what is this? Notice, Purusha appears to be bound because of the false identification with the ego. And when this it disappears by proper analysis, that is Viveka, Purusha realizes that it is always unchanging, eternal entity. A liberated person continues to stay in his real nature, that is that of Purusha, and knows his real nature. So the act of continuously staying leads to a wrong assumption that it has been undergoing change. That Swarupastita, it looks as though it is undergoing change, but in reality, there is no end to that state. There is no end to that state of Alabdha Paryavasana. Bracket, of course, is also not needed. That particular state, or rather, I have to put the bracket here. There is no end to that particular state. He continuously stays in that stage of awareness. Then from now, these simple questions. Atha asya samsarasya sthitya gatya cha guneshu vartamanasya asti kramasamaptihi nava iti avachaniyam etat. So the question is whether there is an end to the transformation of this continuous parinama is going on, isn't it? So that parinama is there for this samsara. This samsara means a transmigration. Samsara, we are not talking about the world. Samsaranam is a transmigration, the transformation. You see from birth and death and again birth and again death. So that is transmigration. So the question is whether there is an end to the succession of this universe. In the case of a person, realized person, existing in gunas by virtue of existence or resolution. You see, athasya sthitya gatyacha. Sthiti means existence, gatyacha, or by way of a resolution. Guneshu vartamanasya. Guneshu Vartamanasya Samsarasya. Samsarasya has to be connected here. Guneshu Vartamanasya Samsarasya Sthitya Gatya cha Vartamanasya Samsarasya Asti Krama Samaptihi Nava. So is there an end to the Krama Samapti? Is there an end to its succession or not? Iti Avachaniyam etat. That means it cannot be categorically answered. Avachaniyam, something which cannot be straight away said. So now you see the essential nature of the gunas is to undergo change, then it becomes non-eternal. You see, if the essential nature of gunas, if that essential nature itself undergoes change, then it becomes non-eternal. Then the people who die would not be reborn, or no new people would have to be born. So no new people would be born. And now if that is so, what is done now, some karma which we do, and the karma and the fruit of karma, the doctrine relating to that karma and karma phalam, etc., it will become infructuous. You see, even when I die and then when there is no phalam at all, when there is no karma phalam, then whatever has done, it has gone. Kruta hana, akruta abhyagama. In Shastra, they use a particular term called kruta hana. Akruta abhyagama. Krutasya hanam. That suppose I have committed some very great deeds, noble deeds, let us say. For that, I am not getting any reward. And I have committed great sins. For those great sins, I am also not getting any punishment. That is krutahana. Akruthabhyagama. And suppose I get another life. Of course, here in this particular context, akruthabhyagama will not be there because there is no new people. No new people also are born. And if at all some new people are born, they will be born without the operation of karma. Karma has not necessitated that particular birth, because you see in all our cases, karma has necessitated or karma has caused our birth. The previous karma has caused this present birth. So that is what we accept. So, but if the gunas also undergo change, then they also become non-eternal. So that is how we say gunas are never non-eternal, gunas are always eternal. Scriptures would be infructuous, then hence it has to be accepted that there is no change in the essential nature of gunas. Katham asti prashnaha ekanta vachaniyah sarvo jato marishyati iti om bho iti. So suppose there is a question. How? There is a question. Asti prashnaha ekanta vachaniyah. Ekanta vachaniyah means it can be answered in a categorical way. Ekantataha means categorically, in absolute terms. In absolute terms, it can be answered. A question whether all that is born dies or not, it can be answered in absolute way. Yes, and the answer undoubtedly is, oh yes sir, they do. Om bho iti means, om bho means, oh yes sir, yes they do die. Then another question, atha sarvo mrutva janishyate iti. Sarvaha mrutva janishyate. So every person who is dead, will everybody be reborn? So that question is there. So for that, we can't categorically answer. Vibhajya vachaniyam etat. Vibhajya vachaniyam etat. That is, it has to be distinguished and answered. Vibhajya vachaniyam. That is something which has to be distinguished and answered. Or how distinguished and answered? How pratyudita khyatihi kshina trushnaha kushalaha na janishyate itarastu janishyate. You can put a comma also here. Pratyudita khyatihi, a person in whom that khyati has dawned. Pratyudita, udaya means dawn. Pratyudita khyatihi means one in whom that jnanam has dawned. Jnana has dawned in him. Kshina trushnaha, all his desires have exhausted. Exhausted in the sense they have just disappeared. Trishna has disappeared. Kushalaha. Kushala means not a smart person. Kushala means somebody who is an enlightened person, let us say. An enlightened person. Na janishyate. He is not born. Itarastu janishyate. This enlightened person, that prakriti, it has got separated. He has already realized that this prakriti is something totally different. It is not his real nature. So kushalaha na janishyate, itarastu janishyate. So somebody who is still having some sort of lingering attachment with the body-mind complex, he will be born, but not somebody who is totally, fully enlightened. Itarastu janishyate. So this has to be answered in by distinguishing and answering. He who has realized that is a yogi devoid of desires will not be reborn. The other is reborn. तथा मनुष्यजातिः श्रेयसी वा श्रेयसी न वा श्रेयसी न वा श्रेयसी इत्येवं परिपृष्टे मनुष्यजातिः श्रेयसी न वा श्रेयसी इत्येवं परिपृष्टे I think we have to put a comma here. न वा श्रेयसी इत्येवं परिपृष्टे विभज्य वचनीयः प्रश्नः. So suppose somebody asks, is a human birth good? Is human birth something which is Shreyasi means something which is leading to a higher level. Shreyas and preyas, we know these two words, Shreya and Preya. Shreyas is something which is which will give us some future, good future, let us say. And Preya is something which is giving us some temporary enjoyment, but it may not be, or probably most of it will not be, of good consequences. That is Preya. Shreya and Preya. We get these two words in Upanishad also. Shreyascha, Preyascha. So, and these two things, they do bind a person. We also get this in one Upanishad also. Manushya jati shreyasi nava. Suppose somebody asks whether the human birth leads to good or not. It has to be distinguished and answered. Vibhajya vachaniya. Pashun adhikrutya shreyasi. Devan rushinscha adhikrutya na iti. In comparison with, it is preferable, human birth is preferable in comparison with animals. It is good in comparison with animals, but it is not so good. It is not good in comparison with that of gods and sages. In our tradition, we say that gods are also, again, humans only, they get to that particular level of gods. So that particular status of gods. So, ayam tu avachaniyah prashnah samsaroyam antavan atha ananta iti. Another question. What is that? The present question. Atra, ayam tu avachaniyah prashnah. So that is, what is that present question? The question is whether transmigration has an end or not. So that is the present question, the question under issue. The present question whether transmigration has an end or not cannot be answered in absolute terms or in categorical terms. Antavan atha ananta iti. Kushalasya asti samsara krama samaptihi. Kushalasya means for the enlightened one. Samsara krama samaptihi asti. That is that samsara, that samsaranam, going in the wheel of birth and death. So that comes to an end in the case of an enlightened person. Na itarasya iti. Parisamaptihi na itarasya iti. Anyatara avadharane adoshaha. Anyatara avadharane adoshaha. It's not wrong to say, it is not wrong to distinguish and say that samsara will be there, will not be there for an enlightened one, but it will be there for an unenlightened one. Tasmad Vyakaraniyaha eva ayam prashnaha. Vyakaranam means what? V plus A plus kru. Vyakaranam, there are two upasargas there. V plus A plus kru. Vyakarani means you have to expand and answer. Vyakaranam literally means elaboration. V plus A plus kru. Kru means to do. V plus A means samanta. V visheshena. That is you are elaborating. You are analyzing every word. You are analyzing the nature of the words and explaining. That is Vyakaranam. Maybe there may be a definition also for that. I don't know. Vyakaraniyaha eva ayam prashnaha. That is something. Let me read the translation. Whether transmigration has an end or not cannot be answered in absolute terms. For the accomplished yogi, there is an end to the succession of samsara, but not for the other. It is not incorrect to differentiate and assert about one. Iti anyatara avadharane adoshaha. Adosha means there is not wrong. Not wrong what? Not incorrect to differentiate and assert about one. Hence, the question can be answered by differentiating. That is, Vyakaraniyaha eva ayam prashnaha iti. Then we are coming to the final sutra. The final sutra. Gunadhikara kramasamaptau kaivalya muktam tat swarupam avadharyate. Gunadhikara kramasamaptau. Gunanam adhikaraha. That means the operation of the gunas. Gunadhikara means sattva guna is still acting on me. So guna is having adhikara on me. Rajo guna is still acting on me. Rajo guna is still having adhikara on me. So gunanam adhikara. Gunadhikara kramasamaptau. So that krama, that particular sequence or change in me. So that samaptau, when it comes to an end, that is what is kaivalyam. Samaptau kaivalya muktam. So when the gunas cease to, influence a person, so that is the kaivalya. That is what it has been told. tat swarupam avadharyate. Avadharanam means ascertaining, more clearly knowing. Knowing something more clearly is avadharanam. Avadharaya, it we say. Avadharanam. So it is now being ascertained. What is its, in more clear terms, we have to know. The final sutra is Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasavah Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtava Chiti Shaktihi iti. There are two wings here, two wings. What is the first wing is Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasavah Kaivalyam. Up to that point is one. Or Swarupa Pratishtava, va means or Swarupa Pratishtha Chiti Shaktihi. That Chiti Shakti or consciousness is abiding in its, or Purusha, let us say, Chiti Shakti is Purusha. That Purusha is in its Swarupa state, in its essential nature. It is in that state of awareness of his own real self. So Chiti Shakti. So it looks as though two types of Kaivalya are being told, but in fact there are no two types of Kaivalya, there is only one type of Kaivalya. We will see it at the end. Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam. What does it mean? Purushartha Shunya. Purushartha. Purushartha means we know that there are four Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And these gunas are there. Gunas, they are there to achieve these four Purusharthas. So Purushartha Shunya. So those gunas which have no human purpose left. The gunas, they have served their purpose. What is their purpose? Bhoga and apavarga. So they have also given enjoyment, and somewhere in between the person got enlightened, and now the gunas have gone away, receded. Gunanam Purushartha Shunyanam. Gunanam Purushartha Shunyanam Pratiprasavaha Kaivalyam. Prasavaha means coming out, Prasavaha, that lady giving birth to a baby, something like that. Or from Prakriti, Mahan, Mahato, Ahankaraha, Ahankarat, Panchatammatrani. So we see all that, isn't it? So that is that Prasavaha. Pratiprasava means going in the reverse order. Prasava is coming from Atmana, Akasha, Sambhuta, etc. From that Mahan, that ego, and then from ego, this five Tammatrani, and from Tammatras, all these Panchabhutas, etc. And so that is the Prasava. Resolving is return, going back. How do they literally go back? It is not exactly a question of literally going back and becoming into Prakriti. It is Viveka, by virtue of Viveka only. You see, all this Laya is a mental process only. It is not as though there is a physical resolution going back. So physical resolution, physical evolution is there, but physical resolution is not there. It is only a mental thing. That is, you are negating. Oh, I am not the body, my body. I am not the prana. I am not the manomaya kosha. I am not the vijnanamaya kosha. That is what is Laya. Pravilapa, we say Pravilapanam. Pravilapanam means you are resolving the effect into the cause, resolving another effect into the cause, another that one into its cause, and then again the third one into its cause. So like that, you are resolving them back. So these gunas, Pratiprasavaha, resolving into their cause, that is what is Kaivalyam. Swarupa Pratishtava, or establishment in its nature, natural state. Chiti Shaktihi, that is consciousness, in other words, Purusha, iti. So the resolution of gunas into their cause, that is Pradhanam, where no human purpose is left or pending, is liberation. Or it is the state in which consciousness, within brackets I can also write Purusha, is established in its natural state. And so the resolution of effects is in the direction of, in the opposite direction, in the direction opposite to their evolution. That is, evolution has come down, now the resolution is just again going in a reverse direction. The samskaras get resolved in manas. So first, the basic thing is samskara. So the final thing is samskara. So those final things, they get resolved in the manas, that is the mind. And that means the yogi realizes that they are not different from the mind. What all samskaras, what all impressions are there, all those, they are not different from the mind. Chitta vritti, all these chitta vrittis and their samskaras. Then the mind gets resolved in the ego. And again, the ego gets involved in the, resolved in the cosmic mind. And the cosmic mind gets resolved in the pradhanam. So that is the process of resolution, getting back. Evolution, and the opposite is resolution. Now, thus, for the liberated person, the world exists as the play of pradhanam. So the world, how does a realized person see the world? In Vedanta also it is very very clearly said, Natavat karyam karoti. An enlightened person, he feels the whole world is something which is not totally unreal. It is something he is above the operation of the gunas. So like an actor, he goes through all the motions. So like an actor, he goes through. And some other examples which Vedanta text give is Kulala Chakravat. Of course, here also the Sankhya Karika gives the same analogy. Kulala Chakram. Kulala Chakram is the potter's wheel. The potter rotates the wheel, and accordingly he prepares that path when it is moving. When the wheel is very briskly moving, he shapes that particular part. Then slowly he takes it out. Slowly, gently he holds it, and then gently he takes it out. When he gently takes it out, the wheel is still moving. So that wheel, gradually it comes to an end when its momentum slows down. Slowly it will come down. Slowly it will cease to move. It will stop, let us say. So, like that Kulala Chakra, the enlightened person, that if you after enlightenment, he immediately does not die, he has to live. So, after enlightenment, his stage is like that of that Kulala Chakra. So, that action, routine actions will be going on. So, even a enlightened person has to go to the passport office, or rather, he has to go to some other office. He has to show his identity card. He has to get his things. So, like that, in olden days, of course, life was much, much simpler. Now, everybody is it is a compulsory, it is essential for everyone to have some identity. So, these are the problems. So for the liberated person, the world exists as the play, is a drama of the pradhana. Then Krutabhogapavarganam Purushartha Shunyanam Yah Pratiprasavah. Yeah, this is the commentary. Krutabhogapavarganam Purushartha Shunyanam Yah Pratiprasavah Karya Karanatmakanam Gunanam Tat Kaivalyam. You see, for the gunas, there are three. For the gunas, there are three adjectives used. One is Krita Bhoga Pavarganam. So they have finished the task of giving, providing Bhoga and Apavarga. Then again, Purushartha Shunyanam. No further Purushartha is left out to be done or performed. Then Karya Karanatmakanam, which are of the nature of Karyam and Karana. Karyam is effect, Karana, so not Karanam, Karya Karana. Karya Karana, Karya Karanatmakanam. Karyam is effect and Karana is the cause. So the gunas which are of the nature of cause and effect, and gunas which have completed their task, gunas they have finished the task of giving bhoga and apavarga. Their pratiprasavaha, pratiprasavaha. The pratiprasavam is there is all in back into the cause. So that is what is kaivalyam. So the resolution of gunas, the same thing, which are of the nature of the cause and effect, and which have done their task of achieving experience and liberation, when they are devoid of any further human purpose, is liberation. Then the gunas resolve into prakriti as their purpose of achieving bhoga and liberation have been accomplished. Then Swarupa Pratishtha. Now, for the second half, Swarupa Pratishtha Vachiti Shakti. For the second half, again, there is a small comment. Swarupa Pratishtha. Punaha Buddhi Sattva Anabhisambandhat Purushasya Swarupa Pratishtha. Purushasya Swarupa Pratishtha. That is staying in his own nature. What type is it? Punaha Buddhi Sattva Anabhisambandhat. Buddhi Sattvena Saha Anabhisambandha. That is, Buddhi is there. Once a person is enlightened, then again, Punaha means again, Buddhi Sattva Anabhisandhana. The total disconnect with the Buddhi. Total disconnect. There is absolutely no contact with the Buddhi again. Chiti Shakti Reva Kevala. That is purely as that Chiti Shakti, pure consciousness, pure awareness. Tasyaha Sada Tathaiva Avasthanam Kaivalyamiti. So Sada Tathaiva Avasthanam Kaivalyam. So that is Chiti Shakti. Chiti Shakti because it is a feminine word. That is why it is said Tasyaha. Chiti Shakti Reva Kevala. Tasyaha because it is a feminine gender. Tasyaha Sada Tathaiva Avasthanam. So of that Chiti Shakti, in other words Purusha, Tathaiva Avasthanam. So in that continuous state of awareness, in his own self. That is what is called Kaivalyam. So here, of course, the commentary ends. So, of course, we have to see, are they really telling two Kaivalyam or one only? So the Vachaspati Mishra wonders whether there are two types of liberation are told here. One for the Pradhanam and one for the Purusha. It is not so, because it was earlier also noted that Purusha's bondage is merely apparent but not real. So thus it is the Pradhanam which is getting bound and which is getting released. Sankhya Karika, if we see the Sankhya Karika, I'll just read out the Sankhya Karika 62. We know that Ishvara Krishna's Sankhya Karika, in fact, Ishvara Krishna's Sankhya Karika is one basic text which is available. Sankhya Sutras, of course, the people say that they were reconstructed sometime later, not by Kapila, some controversy about it. But this is the Sankhya Karika. Sankhya Karika may be whether it is AD or whether it is B. AD means common era. Nowadays AD is not used. What do they say? Common era. And BCE. So that is what, whether it is BCE or whether it is a common era, we do not know. There is 62 reads like this. Tasmat na badhyate sau na muchyate na pi samsarati kaschit. So this Purusha na badhyate, never bound, na muchyate, there is no freedom, there is no in real sense there is no bondage, in real sense there is no getting liberation also, no question of getting liberated also. Napi samsarati kaschit, and Purusha in real terms is not doing this samsara. Then who is doing this samsara? It is the Linga Sharira. Vedantins say that is the Linga Sharira. Here also it is something similar. Samsarati badhyate muchyate cha nanashraya prakriti. So who is getting bound and who is getting released? Nanashraya prakriti. Nanashraya means this prakriti which is getting into different forms, which is evolving into different shapes. So this particular prakriti, samsarati. So in other words, what we say that Linga Sharira also. Linga Sharira, what is it? Linga Sharira is basically prakriti. Linga Sharira, that is prana, aspect of prakriti. Then again, mind, buddhi. That mind is the most important thing, isn't it? In that only all that samsara, that all the samskaras, the baggage of samskaras is there. So the mind and the sense organs and the prana, along with the baggage of karma, that constitutes the Linga Sharira, and which is nothing but pradhana, which is nothing but prakriti. So this shloka very, very clearly says, Tasman na padhyate savu. There is no bandha, na muchyate, there is no bondage, there is no bondage, there is no liberation, na pi samsarati kaschit, Purusha has no samsara. Samsarati badhyate muchyate sha, nanashraya prakriti. Another shloka also says, 64, 65, again if we see in Avamarda Sattarupa, Prakutim Purusham Pashyati Prekshavat. This is the 65th shloka. It says, Prakrutim Pashyati Purushaha Prekshakavad Avasthitaha Swachhaha. After liberation, what happens to this Purusha? After liberation, is he not conducting his daily chores? So he has to conduct his daily chores. For that it says, Prakrutim Pashyati Purushaha. Purusha, what is his equation with the Prakriti? He merely just undergoes various motions without getting entangled with buddhi, without getting entangled in things. How? Prakrutim Pashyati, Prekshakavad Avasthitaha, Swachhaha, like Prekshaka, like a sort of somebody who has risen above Gunatita, somebody who is risen above, and that is what we call Jivan Mukti in Vedanta. So that is one thing. But one small resolution which I could not get even from some scholars is that whether, because Sankhya and Yoga schools, they talk about this Purusha Bahutvam. They talk about the Purusha Bahutvam. And thus we see that the Purusha remains eternally in such free state even after the fall of the body. Because when we say that souls are, of course soul is not the right word, the individuated consciousness, let us say. Purusha, when we say, there are so many Purushas. In Vedanta, there is only one Atma. In Vedanta, there is only one consciousness. There are no parts in it. So the Jiva is a sort of individuated consciousness. Appears like an individuated consciousness. But here it is individuated consciousness because Purusha Bahutvam is being accepted here. So if that is so, then are there so many Purushas? Suppose somebody is Mukta. Then after the fall of the body, till the continuation of body, there is no problem. Okay, he is seeing the Prakriti and then he is like a Jivan Mukta. But after that, Videha Mukti means this consciousness is not apart from that this larger consciousness like Ghatakasha is not different from Mahakasha, or like small wave is not different from ocean. It is one with the ocean. So does it mean that pure consciousness has parts in it? This is something which not very clearly answered in Sankhya Shastra. So from the Sankhya Karika 62, we have to presume that the Purusha was never born. There is no doubt about it. But whether how to explain these innumerable Purushas, that is something which we have to see. But anyway, we'll stop here. We'll stop here, and then we'll have the next class. In the next class, we'll have a conclusion for about 3-4 days. This Thursday I will not be there, and on the next Monday we'll finally conclude, recapitulate. We'll have a brief summary of the 4 padas. Brief summary, in fact, may not be a very elaborate summary, but in one class we'll have a summary of this Yoga Sutras. So I will stop here. Srinivas, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. First question, sir. Namaste, sir. Could you please explain how one can understand Sutra 4.4 practically? In this, it speaks about creating multiple minds as a supernormal power of a yogi, which is very difficult to believe. In that case, is yogi equivalent to Brahman who has created all of us? Kindly throw some light on this.
Oh, that is only a siddhi. Nirmana chittani. You see, Nirmana chittani asmita matrat. Nirmana chitrani. In fact, that is the reason why I did not want to actually teach what is this Vibhuti Pada. And of course, in Kaivalya Pada also, there is some overflow or some continuation of these Vibhutis. So, Nirmana chittani. Nirmana chittani, again, this person who has attained that siddhi, he is able to create so many minds also. It looks somewhat similar. Your question is, it looks somewhat similar to, of course, here there is no question of Brahma. The yoga system, they are not talking about Brahma. They only talked about an Ishvara. And what is that Ishvara also? Purusha Visheshaha. In the first chapter, how did they define the Ishvara? Something, what is it? Without that baggage of all those things, and Purusha Vishesha, Ishvaraha, Klesha Karma, Vipaka Ashayehi, Aparamrushta Purusha Vishesha, Klesha Karma Ashayehi, Aparamrushta. So there's Klesha is Avidya, Asmita, etc., etc. Karma, the baggage of karma is not there. Then again, Ashaya, Karma Ashaya means that samskaras and all that. Aparamrushta, somebody who is untouched by that. He Purusha Vishesha, Ishvara. They have accepted that Ishvara. But that Ishvara creating this whole universe, it is not mentioned in Sankhya. So now that so long as we are in Sankhya, let us follow this Sankhya principle only. So there is no Ishvara who is creating this universe. The Prakriti is evolving as the universe. Okay, Prakriti has evolved into an individual, let us say. And that individual essentially is Purusha, which is getting reflected in that Antakarana. And this particular Purusha, that individual, let us say, in the process of that Viveka, in the process of this self-purification and then all these things which are told in the second pada and second pada particularly, that Kriya Yoga, etc. So he has gone through all those 8 limbs, and in that process he has attained some siddhis. And one of the siddhis is to multiply the Antahkarana, So the question of his being equated to creator does not arise because Sankhya is not accepting any creator. So that is what we have to see. But anyway, at that place we saw that there are so many minds and so many bodies, but still there is one commanding body. I think the next sutra says Pravrutti Bhede Prayojakam Chittam ekam anekesham. So pravritti vede. So though there are so many different bodies, I remember these two because we see in these kung fu movies. So there are 4 or 5 people fighting, but at the same time there is one mind, one mastermind. Let us say Chittam ekam anekesham. That prayojakam chittam. Prayojakam means that which is controlling the others. That way.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
The next question is, sir, how can I have the, oh, this is notes, sir. I have already given the notes. I'll explain that. Namaste, sir. Is it possible to, sorry, again, it is regarding notes only. So the last one, sir, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful explanation of Yoga Sutras. Your explanation was so clear and made it so easy to understand the difficulties text so easily. Thank you for all your efforts and to Advaita Academy for organizing this session.
Thank you, but I myself am not very satisfied because some translations could have been better. In fact, I will sit on it. I will sit on it, and then, in fact, there are certain complicated expressions. Those complicated expressions I may understand, but then probably so the language is so involuted. Language is so involuted that it is slightly difficult to put it in English unless I elaborate them and all that. And I also found that English translation, there is one translation by one, in one old edition. That translation also is not very clear. And Edwin Bryant, he has missed out certain things. He explained certain things very well, but he omitted certain things, certain complicated constructions, etc. Quite natural. So anyway, now that we have taken up to read in a systematic way, I will try to improve it, and maybe later I will circulate another revised note also. I will again go through, and certain complicated portions I do remember. So where I found it difficult to translate. So let us see. I am very happy that you are benefited to whatever extent it is. Thank you.
So one more thing, sir. Also, can we have a question and answer session after a few days on complete text so that we can get clarity all our doubts? Clarify all our.
That may be rather. I have to spend a lot of time again going through all those things. So suddenly some sutra, it may be slightly difficult. I will make a summary. And again I will circulate the note after some time. And you will be in touch with Mr. Srinivas, and he will circulate it to you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And viewers, you have to just copy and paste the link on a URL and then click on that. Then you will be directed to the complete notes of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which has been prepared by sir. So if there is any difficulty, please let me know. I'll just attach it and send mail to everyone whoever has registered for this session. So that way you can have this access to the complete notes. So thank you so much, sir. So we won't be having the next class on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday I will be away
from. Summary will be on Monday. Next Monday we will be having that. I'll send a email message also to that extent.
Okay.
Very kind of you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat.